It is the fastest growing international crime network that the world has ever seen. It has already passed the illegal arms trade, and soon it's going to pass the drug trade. Because you can sell a bag of cocaine one time to a child 5 to 10 times a day. God's children are not for sale.
When God tells you what to do, you cannot hesitate.
Sara, this movie has gotten enormous with a relatively low budget. Why do you think that is?
Well, I mean, I think that people are ready to see truth. They're tired of woke Hollywood telling all of these woke stories and injecting woke ideology, and they're ready for, something that all Americans can go see. And unfortunately, I think sex trafficking and human trafficking, child trafficking in particular, is something that people have stuck their heads in the sand for far too long. And I think the American people are finally ready to talk about it because, unless we're spreading awareness about it, we can't change it. And no better to do this than Jim Caviezel, who of course plays Tim Ballard, someone that I have personally interviewed in all of his, expeditions with OUR, his sex trafficking, he's fighting sex trafficking with this organization. And so I'm really happy that they made the movie. I'm really happy to see that Americans are, it seems like, with Steve Dace's Nefarious movie doing so well, and this movie, Sound of Freedom, doing so well, it seems like Americans are finally saying, we don't trust Hollywood anymore. We don't want Hollywood anymore. What we want is, real things that we can talk about at the dinner table. As grotesque as they may be, they still need to be talked about.
It is one of those things that we have buried our head in the sand about. Years ago, I didn't understand how pervasive it was. And I feel like one of the reasons we don't understand is it's so gross and so awful to talk about, Sara, that we don't want to talk about it. When I get together with my friends this weekend, that's not exactly going to be a wonderful conversation to have. It's not going to be something that comes up. But it is something we have to talk about. I'm shocked at how many there are. There are millions in this country alone, millions of these slaves, for lack of a better way to put it.
Yeah, it really is shocking when you look at the statistics. I was looking at the statistics from the Global Labor Organization, who say that over 1.2 million children, we're just talking about children, over 1 million children worldwide are trafficked every year. Obviously, that number grows because most children don't find themselves coming out of the trafficking lifestyle. And so, especially when people think of this, they don't realize that this is happening in your backyard. This is happening in the United States. California and Texas are two of the states with the greatest number of human trafficking out there in this country. And so I think that for a long time, people just thought, it doesn't happen here. This is something that's happening in, maybe Middle Eastern countries or African countries, and it's not happening here, so we don't need to talk about it. And unfortunately, that's not the case anymore. And I'm just really, really glad that the folks over at Angel Studios and Sound of Freedom are kind of raising the alarm on that, because I think it's been a long time coming.
Something I thought that was very interesting and revealing has been the reaction to this movie by the communists, like this lady on CNN.
You have a lot of people who are in this world of QAnon who say, oh, they don't know what that is. They've never heard of it. They're just asking questions. With somebody like Jim Caviezel, he is openly embracing it. He's openly using its catchphrases and its concepts. He's speaking at QAnon conventions. And this film is being marketed to either specific QAnon believers or to people who believe all of the same tenets as QAnon, but claim they don't know what it is.
And The Sound of Freedom does focus on a real issue of sex trafficking. But that theme, it's sort of like that kernel of truth that feeds the QAnon conspiracy theory.
Sara, we have the Washington Post, we have CNN, we have Rolling Stone, we have publication after publication, The Guardian, if memory serves me, coming out complaining about this movie. It's not a political movie, Sara. Why would they have a problem with it?
Because everything is so tribal with these people. They can't handle just calling out sex trafficking, human trafficking for what it is, which is evil. They have to carry the water for the other side, which means, I guess, owning the cons by saying human trafficking is good, owning the cons by saying human trafficking doesn't happen, even though we all know that it does. I mean, just when you think that the media couldn't get any lower, they go off and do something like this. I got to tell you, Jeffrey Epstein would be loving every minute of it, because these people are carrying water for people like Jeffrey Epstein, for people like Ghislaine Maxwell, and they have absolutely no self-awareness, or maybe I should say they just have absolutely no conscience. So maybe they don't get it, maybe they don't care, but they absolutely are carrying water for human traffickers now, all in the name of tribalism.
Are you tired of watching your beloved nation fall prey to the insidious grip of communism? The Anti-Communist Manifesto by Jesse Kelly is the ultimate guide to fighting back against this destructive force. Discover the shocking truth about communism infiltrating our education system, corporations, and even environmental movements. Unmask the true agenda behind groups like Antifa and Black Lives Matter, and learn how to protect the United States from the most malicious enemy. With extensive documentation of past atrocities, you'll see the undeniable danger posed by this ideology. Arm yourself with knowledge and join the fight to preserve the American way of life. The Anti-Communist Manifesto, a new must-read book from Jesse Kelly. Get your copy today at jessekellybook.com or wherever books are sold.